They trying to get that fight more of a like, oh, it's gonna be a good fight, but no, Roach a decent fighter, but Tank gonna dog him. Tank gonna dog him.
For sure.
Gervonta Davis's last knockout victim, Frank Martin, is expecting him to destroy Lamont Roach in the rematch. Tank's going to whoop him, said Martin, while being recorded recently by E's News. It's not surprising he's supporting Tank. Other Gervonta Davis victims, like Ryan Garcia and Rolando Romero, have also backed him, and the reason is clear. A win for Gervonta Davis makes them look good, while a loss highlights how incapable they are.
Why do you believe that is?
Because Tank is just too much like.
Well, Frank Martin soon received the most unexpected response from Lamont Roach.
Why was it so easy when he fought Frank Martin?
Frank Martin was inexperienced and nervous. You know, it is what it is. It's going to be a different fight when I'm in there. He's going to be a different fighter. To be broken. And the fact that even though he's a good fighter, he's never been in the ring with a complete fighter like me. For them, especially the ones who don't know about boxing, you can suck it.
Before then, from Martin's point of view, Roach is merely an innocuous speed bump. He won't completely ignore what the 29-year-old can do. Roach has a bit of toughness to him, and has worked on his skills enough to be mentioned among the elite. However, when the dust settles, Martin fully expects Davis not only to beat Roach, but to essentially embarrass him. Roach is a decent fighter, continued Martin, but Tank is going to dog him.
You know, everybody pushing for the fight. I'm not fighting at 135 no more. I know he probably ain't gonna be at 135 for too long either, but I ain't gonna stay at 135, so we can do something at 140. I'm with it. You know, I'm gonna go. I'm a green light. So I wish him the best in his next fight. You know, he get the dub.
However, Lamont Roach Jr. says he brings far more to the table than Frank Martin, the undefeated lightweight contender who was knocked out in highlight reel fashion by Gervonta Tank Davis in June. Respectfully, I'm not Frank Martin. Frank, Martin started boxing when he was, 15? Roach said in an interview with Najee Grampus of Cigar Talk. Martin was actually 17, according to the Premier Boxing Champions website.
Just overall being something that he's not been in the ring with. I'm the total package, and honestly, sometimes I think he doubts himself. But I'm a competitor, and I feel like I'm the best. So I'm assured.
When he talks about you not bringing your family, what goes through your mind when you hear him say that?
I ain't worried about that.
Frank Martin didn't get the experience that he needed, as everybody could see. It's not like I'm just talking expletive or anything like that, Roach said. He didn't have the experience to be in there with someone as skilled or as experienced as Tank. I've got the same skill level as Tank. I've got the same experience as Tank. I've got the reflexes. I've got the ability, and I damn sure got the IQ. The question is, what makes people think I'm going to end up like those guys who didn't have the experience and skills?
I'm always looking for a knockout. No matter what, I'm always prepared for 12 rounds. But I'm always looking for a knockout, and if I get the chance, I'm going to try to knock his head off. To be broken. And the fact that even though he's a good fighter, he's never been in the ring with a complete fighter like me. For them, especially the ones who don't know about boxing, you can suck it.
Before the first fight against Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis was 30-0 with 28 knockouts. The only fighters to last the distance with him were German Miraz back in 2014, when Davis was in his 9th professional fight, and Isaac Pitbull Cruz, whom Davis defeated by decision in 2021. After the Cruz bout, it was revealed that Davis had suffered a hand injury. Roach acknowledges Davis's power, but also believes in his own chin.
The hardest punch I ever faced. No. And I ain't shitting on him or nothing like that. He can punch. But Jonathan Oquendo, he's from Puerto Rico. Bro, he got bricks in his hands, bro. I lie to you not. He punched hard. I ain't gonna lie.
I think I got hit on my chin a couple times. Ain't nobody ever dropped me, Roach said. Ain't nobody ever seen me hurt in any fight. A counter right hook that dropped Roach in his 2019 loss to Jamel Herring was ruled a slip. The ref saw that my foot came up and I tripped. That's why he didn't call it a knockdown, Roach explained.
I feel like you got a certain confidence about this fight that I've interviewed a few different Tank opponents, And everybody gonna say like, yeah, you know, everybody say this shit. That's what you're supposed to say, right? Like I'm going into a fight. I don't think people thinking they're gonna lose, but it just feels like you have a different confidence than most other people. Where do you feel like that comes from?
That's just how I'm wired, bro. I ain't never backed down from nothing. I damn sure ain't never wanted to come second to anything. So why would it change here?
But while Roach proudly proclaims his own attributes, he also acknowledges that Davis has few weaknesses. The ones that I do know, I'll try to exploit, Roach said. It's not going to be easy. We all know that. He's a hell of a fighter. Lamont. Roach doesn't just talk like a man who thinks he can win. He talks like he knows it. On August 16th at Brooklyn's Barclays Center, the majority of the crowd packed into the arena will be expecting a Davis knockout victory. Roach, however, is happy to disappoint them, at least to a certain extent. Frank Martin carried himself in the exact same way. The highly ranked lightweight even waved a finger in Davis's face during their build-up back in June 2024, promising to punish him come fight night. Unfortunately for him, that's not how things played out. Martin challenged Davis for his WBA lightweight title at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, aiming to become the first man to defeat Tank.
You know, with certain guys and create great fights at 140.
Man, honestly, you know, the last fight, even the fight before that, you know, before the last fight, I lost, you know, the weight cut, and then just too, you know, I'm getting bigger. You know, I got a lot of muscle, everybody know that. Just naturally, you know, like.
It was a competitive fight, with only 1 point separating them on the scorecards heading into the 8th round. But in the end, Martin suffered the same fate as most of the other men who faced Davis. A big left hook sent Martin to the canvas, with Tank claiming the 8th round knockout win to extend his unbeaten record to 30-0. With 28 of those wins coming by stoppage, Martin gave his verdict on Davis's power in a clip captured by Fight Hub TVU, revealing just how Tank manages to win most of his fights by knockout. He's got power. He does a great job at landing the big shot. He knows how to land that shot and hit guys on the button to get them out of there. He's an accurate puncher and knows how to land that shot.
Lifting weights and all that stuff, you know, I'm just naturally just my physique, just a strong stature. So I just feel like my last 2 weight cuts was real tough on me. You know, my last fight, I got tired, probably like my legs after getting tired in probably like the 5th round, you know, just from the weight cut and everything. So, shit, I felt like my body shut down in that fight. So I was just like, I'm gonna just move up to 140 and go from there. You know, when I was an amateur, I fought at 141. When I turned professional, I went down.
The win over Martin was the latest stoppage victory for the Baltimore native, who has also claimed wins inside the distance against the likes of Ryan Garcia, Leo Santa Cruz, and Rolando Romero. Martin challenged Davis for his WBA lightweight title at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas back in June, aiming to be the first man to defeat Tank. Having lost to Davis via 8th round stoppage, Martin knows just how dangerous and powerful he is. With that sort of first-hand knowledge, he isn't giving Roach much of a chance.
And quick follow-up, a lot's been made about Tank's power. How was his power to you? Was it really like devastating power?
I mean, he got power, you know what I mean? But it's more like he do a great job at landing this big shot. You know, he know how to land that shot. You know, hit guys on the button and just get him up out of there. You know, cause he an accurate puncher.
Roach, a champion at 130 lbs, who decided to put his reign on hold again to move up in weight, is fresh off a stoppage victory over Fergal McCroy. But even with that win, along with his title-winning efforts against Hector Lewis, Garcia isn't convincing Martin of anything. By and large, Davis seemingly has bigger fish to fry. The boxing world, including Martin, wants to see him in the ring with the likes of Shakur Stevenson, Vasily Lomachenko, and a few others.
35, and I was gonna work my way back up, but I feel like I'm gonna just be more comfortable at 41 now. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to come cause hell at 140, so whoever want it, you know what I'm saying, come get it.
Yeah, I saw you put a tweet. It was something like, y'all gonna have a long day in hell if you think, you know, you're gonna touch some fighters up at 140. Yeah. You know, I know that you want to fight all the top guys, right? And specifically the champions, right? Is there just kind of a fighter that appeals?
But Davis must first conquer Lamont Roach on March 1st. Roach and Davis faced off in an instant classic, one marred by a controversial decision during the later rounds. Tank took a knee, and, according to the rules, it should have been counted as a knockdown. However, referee Steve Willis allowed the fight to continue without any penalty, resulting in a majority draw. It was a bittersweet outcome for the Reaper, who had begun to believe he'd done enough to win. Yet, a glimmer of hope emerged when the New York State Athletic Commission started reviewing the matter. Even World Boxing Association President Gilberto J. Mendoza backed the Washington native, declaring the knee should have been counted as a knockdown. Furthermore, with reports and rumors suggesting that the New York State Athletic Commission was going to overturn the decision, Roach's hopes flickered back to life.
AI crazy, but they've been jumping lately too. Whole bunch of different stuff, man. I be laughing my ass off.
Ain't that the truth? Mm-hmm. Ain't that the truth? Speaking of, I seen Jalil Hackett's Twitter. He was talking about possibly moving.
Let me repeat. I stand by what I expressed last Sunday in Ring Magazine. With over 30 years of experience, I maintain that taking a knee without a punch should be ruled a knockdown. It affected the outcome of the fight. But once again, things took a downturn when the New York State Athletic Commission upheld the referee's decision due to a technical issue that prevented them from reviewing the footage. That was another gut punch for Lamont Roach. He was hoping for a reversal, or at least some clarity after being caught up in such controversy. Now, it seems he has finally received some clarity, though not the kind he liked. Recently, the 29-year-old sat down with Andre Ward on the All the Smoke Fight podcast. Unsurprisingly, the March 1st bout was heavily discussed. During the conversation, Roach revealed how officials reached out to him after the review, and he also explained how the referee's careless behavior rubbed him the wrong way.
Somebody got to take the fall, and it ain't gonna be him. So, they owned up to it. All right, we missed this. They owned up to it. It's but they just saying all right, we're not gonna overturn it though. We're gonna apologize and give you your flowers, but you ain't gonna get what you want. That's basically what I got from.
During the conversation, Ward asked, "What reason did the New York State Athletic Commission give you for not overturning the decision?" Roach replied that, according to the NYSAC, a counted knockdown would have completely changed the fight. Not only the score, but also Gervonta Davis's approach. If it had been scored as a knockdown, there's no certain way to predict how Gervonta would have responded or fought during the remaining rounds.
And you ain't heard nothing from the ref? He didn't make no statement?
He ain't make no statement. That was, I ain't gonna lie, man, that was, from him, that's sad.
A lot of times that's what the commissions do though, man. If something bad happened with a ref, they'll protect the referee.
Yeah.
And they'll try to get in front of it, and they'll have a spokesperson come out, and it's yeah, that's cool sometimes, but if you drop the ball like that and that affects my legacy, my livelihood, because y'all negotiating for a rematch right now. So you negotiate.
They owned up to it, but they basically said, "All right, we're not going to overturn it. We'll apologize and give you your flowers, but you're not going to get what you want." That's basically what I got from it, he concluded. Although it didn't fully satisfy him, Roach felt some relief after receiving that well-deserved explanation, something that will motivate him in the rematch. However, referee Steve Willis's silence, even after all this time, has left a sour taste in his mouth. "He ain't making no statement," Roach said. Ward then jumped in, calling Willis's silence a poor move. He emphasized that officials owe fighters clarity when their decisions impact a fighter's legacy. At the very least, an apology is necessary to keep things fair for Roach. Indeed, the decision has left a dent in Lamont Roach's legacy, preventing him from achieving a career-defining victory. Furthermore, as Ward pointed out, it has also weakened his bargaining power for the rematch.
30, I was fighting at 130. Obviously, he was already at the championship level. He got catapulted up there. By doing what he was supposed to do, knocking everybody out that they put in front of him. Got Floyd behind him. I was on the hush. I was coming up though. He's a small guy. I knew he wasn't gonna go too far. So And I knew he can rumble. I knew that he'd be as... I'm not surprised at how good he is or what he's done to other people.
How could anyone forget what happened during the March 1st fight? Honestly, what else could that night have been, if not boxing's version of a high-octane action film? One twist after another, with no time to catch a breath. The fight drew over 19,000 fans and reportedly earned Gervonta Davis between $50 and $20 million. Lamont Roach Jr. walked away with a career-high $3 to $5 million for the draw, according to Forbes. All that said, it's clear this match had the potential to generate much more, especially given all the drama that unfolded on Brooklyn Fight Night.
I'm ready for Jamel. He was already champ. He was like, I handle that business, man. You know, make some money together. So you ain't got to tell me twice. That's how it's supposed to be. So it's just like all the signs was there. All the signs was there. All I needed was, you know.
Gervonta Davis remains unusually quiet. Roach is back in the spotlight, confirming yet another rumor that had the boxing world buzzing. Right after the match, everyone trying to guess what it was about. Here's a hint. June 28th, 1997. Ring any bells? We're talking about the moment Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear in the third round of their fight, an act that cost Tyson 2 points and ultimately led to his disqualification after biting Holyfield's ear a second time. Fast forward 28 years, and fans were left wondering, did Gervonta Davis try something shockingly similar in the ring with Roach? Now, Lamont Roach Jr. is here to clear the air. Want me to make it more dramatic or more neutral?
Oh, whoa, whoa. Of course, another comparison I don't want to make to Mike Tyson, but...
Now that's crazy. That's what...
In a recent chat on Andre Ward's YouTube channel, All the Smoke Fight, Lamont Roach Jr. dropped something unexpected. The multiple world champion across 2 weight classes, Andre Ward, asked the Reaper straight up, did Gervonta Davis bite you? Because yeah, there's a clip floating around, and it's got people talking. At first, Roach brushed it off. He told Ward that even his dad brought it up after the fight, saying, man, he tried to bite you. Roach admitted he hadn't felt anything at the moment. He just thought he'd taken a few punches and moved on. But then he saw the replay. Boom, there it was. If you missed the details, don't worry. We've got you covered with a quick recap. Toward the end of round 5, things heated up. The Baltimore native started talking trash while throwing 3 back-to-back left hands.
You know, that first world title, or whatever the case may be, that could put me in that conversation. When he fought Hector, little do a lot of people know, I got the call for that fight too. It was a little crazy, but I got the call.
Roach then fired right back with words and a flurry of body shots. Then came the clinch. In that tangle, Davis lifted his right shoulder, catching the WBA super featherweight champion under the chin. Roach responded with a quick right hand of his own. Now, here's where things get even wilder. Around the halfway mark of round 6, it appeared that Gervonta Davis tried to bite Lamont Roach's ear. No one has officially confirmed it. However, Roach watched the replay later and became convinced that Tank may have gone full Tyson for a second time. Even legendary fight commentator Mauro Ranallo caught it live and referenced Mike Tyson's infamous ear bite. Roach stated that when he heard that during the replay, it hit him like, all. Right? I'm not tripping because they saw it too.
To fight Gervonta or Hector first?
To fight Gervonta. I was already a mandatory for Hector. They was looking for opponents for him, or whatever the case may be. It might be on the scramble, whatever the case may be. They didn't get a big fight like they wanted to. So that's why he went to 30 and see if Hector wanted to fight. But I did get the call though. And of course we said yes. We just ain't get a call back.
So y'all was like a backup?
I wouldn't say a backup. You never know how serious it was.
To top it off, even his sister called it out during the fight. Yet somehow, Roach missed it entirely in the heat of the moment. He revealed that his sister said something like, no, I ain't going to lie. I saw that during the fight. His final take. Obviously, he didn't bite me, but 9 times out of 10, it looks like he tried to. And honestly, if you've seen the clip, you might be leaning the same way.
Was higher than the Tank fight.
Oh, for real?
Yes. To defend my belt. So for all the people who think I was, he doing it for a check. That's what I'm saying. I just even wanted to shut people up.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
we doing it for a check. We ain't doing it just for the check.
We ain't doing it just for the check.
Sure.
But trust me, because don't forget, this is business.
It's prize fighting. Yeah.
It's prize fighting for a reason.
Absolutely.
But I did have a better offer.
On top of that, Roach recently revealed something else. A $40 million payday is not something Gervonta Davis would ever consider skipping. Yet he did. Why? Just a few weeks ago, Lamont Roach Jr. addressed rumors that Davis took it easy on him. He did so during an interview with Andre Ward. The Washington native reminded everyone that Jake Paul was next in line to fight Gervonta Davis, but only if Davis had defeated Roach.